At D23 Expo, Jennifer Lee, who's the head of Walt Disney Animation, took the stage to announce several projects. Key among them is Frozen 3, which is apparently so big that it's actually going to be a two-parter and will extend into Frozen 4 and maybe a live-action musical. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is the king of Arendelle, Mr. VashSky. Vash, I think it's time they had some testosterone running that place. What do you think?
I think so. Arendelle's looking a little shabby around the edges. We need some men to carry on.
We need some LCD TVs over here, some maps on that side, maybe a couple of beanbag chairs, really spruce the place up.
Well, you remember the first Frozen, Jonas. It was a man who was handing out those blankets. So
That's true. That's true. They can be very handy in an emergency. Obviously, I'm just joking around. Arendelle is a sea of estrogen, a frozen sea of estrogen. Let's talk about the next visit that we might have there, though. This tweet from Scott Guston, who is at D23, knew Frozen 3 will be released in 2027. Previously, it was going to be November of 2026. It is being developed as a two-part film, with the second part expected to be Frozen 4. There she is right there, Jennifer Lee. She's the director and writer of Frozen and Frozen 2, I do believe. And she is going to be making Disney's dreams soar on the big screen. Let's go over here to thelaughingplace.com for more coverage. Walt Disney Animation Studios announces original film, and Frozen 4 shares new Frozen 3 concept art. This by Luke Manning over here. During the event, obviously, they announced too what's happening. We already knew that a Frozen 3 was in development, but at tonight's panel, we learned it will be released in 2027. Obviously, that's a pushback. And here is some concept art that they released for the film. Now, two things I notice here. First of all, it's a 2D concept art, and it's very much in the style of the Sleeping Beauty film from that was, let's say, before its time and very modern for its take there. So I'm thinking the film's going to be 3D. So this is obviously just concept art, very evocative of old school Disney. It's funny, Princess Anna here has kind of a Prince Philip vibe. I noticed there's a villain looking person down here, or maybe they're just misunderstood, and a castle in the sky. Again, an old school Disney kind of idea here. Vash, do you have any thoughts on this?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely Ivan Earl styling with a little bit of Mary Blair thrown in there for good measure when it comes to the color styling, that is. The castle in the sky, it's kind of evocative of the original concept for the Snow Queen. So it looks interesting to me, and it definitely gives me the feels.
Yeah, the other thing about it is I feel like there should be some square trees. You know, those square trees that they love out there in Disneyland
Yes.
Paris. And I think they have them at Disneyland, too. It's a miracle of horticulturally, a miracle of arboretums. I don't know. I'll figure out that word one of these days. Lee also stated that the continuing story of Anna and Elsa is so big they'll need 2 movies to finish it, announcing Frozen 4 is also on the way. That is a dangerous thing to go in and say that we need 2 movies. If you need 2 movies, I think you should do 2 movies. And I'm going to say something that goes against many people's ideas on filmmaking, but generally speaking, one story for one film, with certain exceptions. I mean, we're not talking about the Lord of the Rings here. We're talking about Frozen.
Well,
Now,
hang on now. Frozen's a big deal. I mean, according to Leslie Headland, that's a real game changer there. And sometimes you just need a couple extra minutes to tell that story.
yeah, I'm going to say something that's a little bit controversial. The animation in Frozen is not necessarily that good. Also, Frozen 2 went off on kind of a weird path, talking about colonialism and First Nations and basically the sins of the past, and like the entire thing was about basically genetic memory is not quite the phrase, but it was how water keeps memories in it, and that we need to repent of the sins of the past and maybe give back land and things like that. It got into some very, I'm going to say, some edgier themes. One might call it woke, for instance, the idea that there is some kind of inherent sin that comes from a person being from a certain country or having a certain look to them, you know?
Oh yes, absolutely. It got a little strange, got a little weird. Into the Unknown, not a bad song, but doesn't quite hit the notes of Let It Go there. So I don't know. I mean, I think Frozen 2 was okay. It was all right. Now I
Well,
understand that's a huge franchise for the
I'm
Walt
going to
Disney Company.
disagree with you here. I'm going to disagree.
Whoa.
First of all, and they found ways to put "Let It Go" into every single Disney production for the next few, and to the point where it's like, okay, you need to stop kissing your own butt here.
Mhm.
This is not the reason that you have a budget, so that you can keep making references to your past successes that were just a few years ago. They put a reference in Zootopia. They put a reference to it in Encanto. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, guys. By the way, I think "Show Yourself" is actually a better song than Let It Go. It makes more sense emotionally. The lyrics make more sense. And also, Show Yourself is not a villain song. I'm also going to point out that Let It Go is obviously a villain song. And the only reason that Hans exists in that movie is so that Elsa is not the villain of that movie. Because I'm going to say something else here. Elsa is the villain of Frozen. Anyways, now I don't know if I've broken anyone's mind there or if they've are just now hearing this for the first time. Disney is not just doubling or tripling down on Frozen. They're also going to be, I guess, quadrupling down because the Disney musical of Frozen, the filmed on stage version of Frozen, because when you say Disney theatrical, that sure does sound like it's going to theaters, but we're talking Broadway here. They're going to film the Broadway version of the show, and they're going to be putting that on Disney Plus. A film version, this by Kyle Burbank of Laughing Place, of the popular Disney musical stage show is coming to Disney Plus as part of tonight's all-encompassing Disney Entertainment Showcase. It was announced that the stage musical version of Frozen would be getting a streaming release. This film version of the production stars Samantha Barks as Elsa, and Barks also currently performs in the West End production of the show, although that will be closing soon. And it came during this specific portion of the event where they're talking about the stage musicals that they do here. These things are huge money makers for Disney. Obviously, The Lion King has been a massive hit for decades on Broadway, and I think Hamilton was the only thing that dethroned it as the number one seller there of Broadway tickets. I'm also going to point out that after the fact, Disney did come in and figure out a way to associate themselves with Hamilton by locking down Lin-Manuel Miranda forever.
Yes, they absolutely did. And remember, they actually put Hamilton on Disney Plus there as well for a period of time. I think Jonas, when I'm looking at stuff like this is a kind of a low cost way of providing content on D Plus, which is, well, very important, as I think you would agree.
Yeah. Oh, as far as original content for Disney Plus, first of all, this is they send cameras there. I'm not saying it's cheap to shoot these things, but it's cheap compared to how much it would cost to say pay Taylor Swift in order to put the Eras tour on Disney Plus, or to pay the $200 million that it costs to put the Acolyte on Disney Plus. Plus, this is an easy, low-hanging fruit way to put content on the platform for people that are looking for more Frozen, which is, of course, they've done that. They've got like an Olaf Presents series where Josh Gad just does riffs on the plot of different Disney movies. It's not bad. I'm not endorsing Disney Plus here, but when it's focused on Disney content, Disney Plus tends to soar, as opposed to this thing where they take Disney and they try to say, well, it's also Hulu, and well, Hulu is successful, so why are you trying to lessen Hulu in order to make it Disney and lessen Disney in order to make it Hulu? But putting Frozen on Disney Plus, I think this is a good idea. Maybe not something that I'll be checking out. Well, I take it back. I probably will check this out whenever it shows up on the platform. With that being said, we want to throw this to our commenters. What do you think about Frozen 3 for the live action stage musical coming to Disney Plus, and the inevitability of a live action Frozen, and what that's going to look like whenever Disney gets around to that one? I think that's going to be a tight turnaround. I mean, they are already working on a live action Moana that literally has actors from the original animation playing the same parts in live action. Well, all right. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.